Then all of a sudden he became Shyne Poe.
Yeah, he started hanging out with us, and then
wait, hold on. You gotta explain this correctly. You can't rush through this. Hold on. Hud gave the name Shyne Poe. Murder, what up, baby?
Good, man. What's going on with you?
Shit, I'm all right. I'm on my Shyne Poe shit today, man. That's why I wore the fitted, man. Shout out to Poe. Poe was wearing them suits. Do you know Shyne?
No.
Oh my God.
Let's go, man. Shit gonna be crazy tomorrow for this too. Shyne was wearing the fitteds to court. I was watching the Shyne documentary. Shyne was wearing his fitteds. I like that documentary, man. It's a good documentary, man. Come on.
What was his reason for wearing the hat?
He didn't have a reason behind wearing the hat. He just was going to court every day. I mean, you can't wear your hat in court, but every day he was going to court for his case, he was wearing a different fit. I thought, like, that's fashionable. Pretty fashionable, especially in that era. Where the name Poe come from? I knew he was Shyne. How he become Shyne Poe, man?
God bless Hud gave him that name. Hud gassed him up.
Hold on, man. Hold on. We gotta explain this real quick. Because he was Shyne, then all of a sudden he became Shyne Poe.
Yeah, he started hanging out with us, and then
wait, hold on. You gotta explain this correctly. You can't rush through this. Hold on. Hud gave the name Shyne Poe
on everything.
What happened? How did that happen? How did this happen? Because when he signed the Bad Boy, because remember, he was trying to come to entertainment, then he ended up going to Bad Boy.
Yeah.
And his name was Shyne.
Yeah.
Then throughout time, a few months, maybe a year in, he became Shyne Poe.
Yeah.
So now you're about to tell the people how did he become Shyne Poe?
Well, the first time I heard him called Shyne Poe was by Hud. Hud started calling him that. Hud started telling him, yo.
So hold on, Murray, because we know what's going on. So all these on. Hud is like our brother. He passed away. We miss him very much. We love him. But he was also in the group Harlem World that Mace had signed him to, and he's one of our friends. And so for people that don't know Huddy Combs, Huddy Six, etc., this is what he's talking about. So he's saying that Hud
took him.
Just so people know who Hud is.
Hud took him up to Harlem. He started hanging out with Hud. Hud running him through the city. You know, Hud finessing him.
Now that's another thing, audience. Hud is top tier finesse. I'm talking about, he might be top 3, 4 finesses I ever seen in my life, my nigga, ever. But go ahead.
So then, I remember Shyne got in a little incident in Miami. You know, he getting off the elevator. He got some blood on his shirt or whatever. So Hud's like, yo, Shyne Poe, come on, we going upstairs.
Shyne Poe. Just randomly? Oh, that's the first time you heard it.
That's the first time I heard it. So I said, yo, you calling this nigga Poe? He said, yo, Mace, calm down. Let me handle this.
But he there on your ticket. He there with me. Yeah.
I introduced him to Shyne, and now him and Shyne is like this. They going shopping. They all uptown. I said, yo, Hud, how you get the range? Poe let me drive it.
Poe let me drive it.
He threw the battery.
Okay, you explain this how you understand it, but I'm trying to figure out why you think he threw the Poe on Shyne.
It was to get him to spend more.
Oh, yeah. Spend more on him.
Told him all the stories.
All the Harlem stories.
Yeah.
And now he Poe.
Yeah, that's why he started wearing the Woolrich. You remember he had the low cut, he started wearing it.
So you saying Hud told him to start wearing the Woolrich?
Before that he was trying to be like, he wasn't trying to, I ain't gonna say that.
Yeah, I know you ain't. You're not trying to start no try. I get what you saying.
Before he was on the Biggie trajectory.
Got you.
When he got with Hud, he started being Poe.
Yeah, it was a different image. The image changed.
The image changed.
Got you. I don't want to rush, and I know we gotta get to the show, but this reminds me of something else you told me about. Well, so I don't think the audience is really understanding. Hud is like our nigga, but with this nigga's finesse. First of all, Hud can't rap. When Mace was putting Harlem World together, he said, who could sell it? And he's like, Hud could sell it. If somebody write the rap for him, he gonna go talk good. He could definitely sell it. So,
man.
When he gets with Mace, now mind you, Mace is the #1 rapper in the world at this time, so Mace doing songs with everybody. And Mace told me a story how HUD curved Mace for Brian McKnight or some shit. He started hanging out with Brian McKnight. I'm like, how the fuck he get the Brian McKnight from Poe? How did that happen? And then we'll go for, I know we gotta go, but.
I mean, HUD was sure with everybody, man. One time we was in, I think that was Atlanta, and then HUD was with AI. I'm like, yo, how did you meet AI? Like, AI we'll be pulling up to the hotel. And then I tell HUD, stay in the car, yo. HUD, stay in the car. I go upstairs. And then I come downstairs, HUD with AI. They about to go shopping. But everybody he ended up with, he got him to spend cash.
Yeah. You know, yo, fam, HUD was such a people person. He's one of the people who's hard to get mad at. Even when you mad at him, it's hard. Niggas say I took him shopping. HUD robbed me for about 6,000 one night, and I wasn't even mad. I sent a nigga to the bank for like 30,000. I said, yo, pick up 30,000. I said, meet me in Miami. So I had them, I don't even remember how it happened. Might not have been a bank. I can't remember. Whatever it is, I remember the number was 30,000, but I ain't been in my house. Long story, he picked 30,000. I said, meet me in Miami. 25, 30 minutes after I said this, I said, wait a minute, that is not the nigga to send to go get the money. I'm going back. I got it, Gil. He couldn't call me Gil. I got the money, Gil. I'll be down there tonight. I said, all right. I'm like this, tapping my fingers like, I know this ain't gonna go right. So he comes straight from the airport to the club, like his bag on the way. We put the shit in the back of the club. So I don't wanna be crabbing in the club, even though it's my money. So we chilling. I see HUD ordering bottles. You know, bottles in the club, 600, 700, 800. Cristal, Moet. See, I smack a bitch on the ass with 100. I said, I know. I know. This ain't my money he doing this with. We get to the crib. After the club, I'm like, yo, hi, where that money at? He say, Gil, come on now. You know I got to get, I want my money. Nah, that's time to play. He go in the bag, grab the money, and throw it all in the air. Money just flying everywhere. I had the crib down. He just flying all over the house. 30,000 and like 50s and 100s. I'm like, now I got bitches, whatever, and all of us, me included, picking the money up, counting it. Shit like 24-6. I said, hi.
You gonna trust them?
I said, hi, bro, it's not 30 in here, bro. I can see if he spent 500, 600, yo, bro. He said, Gil, that money in there, man. You better start looking under them couches. He was buying that stove or something. I said, all right, HUD. I ain't even going. That nigga, then in the morning, I wasn't even mad at the nigga. I put myself in that position, pause.
Yeah.
Wow, nigga, sorry, Stat.
No, all good. Definitely got to bring back Ask Mace and Ask Cam, so anything in the comments.
Hip-hop had produced plenty of wild tales, but none tangled quite like this one. Soaked in betrayal, survival, and a redemption arc almost too cinematic to be true, except it is. Every brutal detail of it. A kid born into hardship, hauled from Belize into the poverty of Flatbush, Brooklyn, somehow claws his way to become the hottest rapper the industry has ever seen. Labels start throwing cash at him like confetti. The comparisons people slap on him are staggering. They start whispering he is the next Biggie Smalls. Then, in one single night inside a Manhattan nightclub, in the dying hours of 1999, it all gets ripped away. Not just the career, not just the freedom. His entire life flips upside down. Meanwhile, the man standing beside him that night, the very man he claims he was shielding, strolled out of that courtroom without a scratch, a free man. This is the story of Shyne. And not long ago, he finally sat down with Cameron on Talk with Flea and unloaded the whole saga. No filters, no lawyers whispering his ear, just raw truth exactly as he lived it. Let's rewind to the very start. Because to understand what really went down at Club New York that December night, you first need to understand who Shyne actually was and how he got there in the first place. Jamal Michael Barrow entered the world in Belize City back in 1978. His father, Dean Barrow, was a towering political figure in Belize, though he was nowhere near present for Shyne's upbringing. Dean was married to somebody else, and young Jamal was quietly hidden away to shield a political career. His mother eventually moved him to Brooklyn when he was barely 7, dropping him straight into the chaos of Flatbush, one of the most punishing neighborhoods New York City had to offer. No father, barely any resources, and a city notorious for never handing out second chances. But Shyne had a gift. The instant people heard him spit, they knew there was something different in his voice, his cadence, his delivery. Something about the way words rolled off his tongue echoed Biggie himself. Not a cheap knockoff, a genuine, gifted resemblance. Word traveled fast. Labels began circling like sharks. Everybody in the business wanted a piece of this kid. Eventually, the single most powerful man in hip-hop at that moment, Sean Puffy Combs, the mastermind behind Bad Boy Records, swooped in and locked him down in 1998. Shyne had just stepped into the building that already birthed Biggie Smalls, Maze, Faith Evans, Total, and 112. Practically overnight, he became a millionaire. He went from the sidewalks of Flatbush straight into the VIP section of every club in New York. This was finally happening. This was everything he had dreamed about. He was about to take over the world. Then came December 27th, 1999, at Club New York in Midtown Manhattan. The place was jammed. It was one of those nights when everyone spills out because the holidays are rolling and the city is buzzing. Diddy was there with his girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez. Shyne stood right beside them. They were toasting the upcoming release of Shyne's debut record. This was meant to be a celebration, a good night. But across the room sat a crew from Brooklyn. According to Shyne, recounting it to Cameron, these were not people you wanted to test. He glanced across the room and felt the temperature spike. He says the group started hurling threats, vowing to put a bullet in Diddy's head. And then he claims he watched someone reach for a weapon. This is where the story forks, depending on whose version you trust. What is legally on record is that gunfire erupted inside that club. 3 innocent bystanders were struck. One woman, Natania Rubin, took a bullet straight to the face. Pure chaos followed. Diddy, Jennifer Lopez, and his bodyguard Anthony Wolf Jones all bolted in a Lincoln Navigator and got pulled over 11 blocks away, where police discovered a stolen 9mm handgun sitting in the trunk. All 4 were hauled in that night, but Lopez's charges evaporated quickly once she cooperated with investigators. Diddy and his bodyguard Jones headed to trial, and so did Shyne. Here's where it gets messy. Diddy and Shyne did not share a single legal team. Diddy brought his own lawyers, a separate and formidable defense. Shyne had entirely different representation. During the trial, Diddy testified he fired a gun purely in self-defense, not aimed at bystanders, but he did admit to pulling the trigger. Yet when the verdict landed, Diddy walked away acquitted of every charge. His bodyguard was cleared too. And Shyne, only Shyne, was convicted of attempted murder, assault, and reckless endangerment. He was handed a 10-year sentence in a maximum security prison. He was just 21 years old. Sit with that for a moment. The man who admitted firing the weapon walked away untouched. The young rapper who insists he was protecting his boss lost a decade of his life. The industry simply kept moving. Diddy dropped another album. Jennifer Lopez rocketed into global superstardom while Shyne sat locked in a cell. Now fast forward to Shyne sitting down on Cameron's show, Talk with Lee. You have to grasp why this particular conversation hits so hard. Cameron isn't playing journalist, and he isn't trying to stay diplomatic. He's a Harlem legend famous for slicing through the noise to the point. And Maze, his co-host and longtime Harlem running partner, who was himself a bad boy artist and lived through that label's politics and internal chaos firsthand, sits right there in the mix. These are men who know the hip-hop world from the inside out. They know exactly who the players are. They know precisely how the game runs. So when Shyne steps into that conversation, he isn't speaking to outsiders. He's speaking to people who already understand the culture and the stakes firsthand. And Shyne lays it all out plain and simple. He says what happened that night was self-defense. He saw a threat. He saw someone reaching. He reacted. But here is the line that has been ricocheting across the internet ever since this interview dropped. He states, with total conviction, that he never shot that woman. He did not shoot Netania Rubin. He insists the bullet that struck her face never came from his gun. And he has held this exact position consistently, not only in this interview, but throughout his Hulu documentary, The Honorable Shyne, and across countless press conferences over the years. Here's where things get even messier, because there's actually corroborating testimony backing him up. Netania Rubin herself, the woman shot in the face, has publicly stated she saw Diddy holding the gun that night. She looked him dead in the eyes. She says she watched him do it. She has been so unwavering about this account that she has claimed she would let doctors remove the bullet fragment still lodged in her face as physical evidence. Even knowing the surgery could kill her. That is how certain she is, not a throwaway detail. That is a woman willing to gamble her life, to say the wrong man went to prison. Then there's Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a producer who filed an explosive lawsuit against Diddy, alleging Combs bragged to him about bribing witnesses and jurors connected to the 1999 shooting. Jones also alleged in those same court filings that Jennifer Lopez smuggled the gun into the club for Diddy and handed it to him once the altercation kicked off. Lopez has denied any wrongdoing and cooperated with investigators back then. But the fact that these allegations keep surfacing from multiple angles, from the victim herself to a producer to Diddy's own inner circle, paint a very different picture of who actually deserves the blame that night. Funkmaster Flex went on Hot 97 and torched Shyne's version, calling him a stone-cold liar. Flex claimed Shyne only pulled a gun that night because he panicked, scared of catching a punch from someone in the crowd. He went further, alleging Shyne had once been signed to that very same Brooklyn crew allegedly beefing with Diddy inside the club that night, and that Shyne actually owed those people money or had crossed them somehow in the past. Flex vowed he was about to expose the whole thing publicly. Shyne clapped back, thanking Flex for driving traffic to his documentary, then pointing straight to Netania's own on-record account of how Diddy handled him with separate lawyers. He pointed to the entire industry and simply said everyone can't be lying at once. And that brings us to the prison years. Shyne served 9 of those 10 years locked in maximum security. He has since opened up about what that kind of time does to a person. He called the whole ordeal devastating, saying every single hour behind bars weighs on you. And yet inside those walls, he refused to break. He kept recording. He dropped his second album, Godfather Buried Alive, through Def Jam back in 2004, all while still incarcerated. Then, in one of the strangest twists in this entire saga, he began a deep, serious dive into Judaism, eventually becoming an observant Orthodox Jew while still behind bars. He legally changed his name from Jamal Michael Barrow to Moses Michael Levi Barrow in 2006. This wasn't some carefully planned publicity stunt. This wasn't a calculated, cynical rebrand for headlines. This was simply a man stripped of everything in a small prison cell, discovering a spiritual foundation that would carry him through those walls and far beyond them into a new life. When he was finally released in 2009, the system didn't simply let him walk free. Because Shyne had been born in Belize and brought to the United States as a young child, and because he was now a foreign national carrying a violent criminal conviction, immigration officials immediately transferred him straight from prison into a detention facility and then deported him. He couldn't step back into New York as a free man. Instead, he was placed on a plane and shipped back to a country he had left behind at just 7 years old. He had built his entire identity in Brooklyn. He had never known anything else. And now, at 30 years old, he was rebuilding his whole life from scratch in Belize. But here's where this story twists into something almost too wild to believe. The man who had become the first black prime minister of Belize, taking office back in 2008, was none other than Dean Barrow, Shyne's own father. The very same man who once refused to acknowledge him as a child to avoid political embarrassment. The very same absent father who had failed to shape Shyne's early years at all. And now Shyne was returning to a country where his father sat at the head of government. They reconnected. They made peace. Dean Barrow even publicly petitioned the Obama administration to review and overturn his son's conviction. Washington never acted on that request, but the attempt was genuinely made. Shyne was appointed Music and Goodwill Ambassador of Belize in 2010. He relocated to Jerusalem, spending years studying the Torah, sometimes putting in 12 hours a day. He reconnected with his faith, with his roots, with a version of himself that never got the chance to develop back on the streets of Flatbush or inside a recording studio. Then he returned to Belize with real purpose, running for political office. In November 2020, he won a seat in Belize's House of Representatives, representing the Mesopotamia Division. Less than a year later, in June 2021, he was officially sworn in as leader of the opposition, one of the most powerful political positions the entire country has to offer. The kid who grew up fatherless in Brooklyn, marketed to the world as the next biggie, who went to prison for a crime he insists he didn't fully commit, was now standing inside the chambers of the national government, leading the opposition party. He even flew back to the United States for the first time since his deportation on an official diplomatic trip, visiting Atlanta, Newark, and New York as a representative of the Belizean government, meeting with politicians, advocating for the diaspora, and yes, even reconnecting with old hip-hop figures, including Diddy, before Diddy's own legal catastrophe came crashing down entirely. Because we simply cannot tell this story without addressing what eventually happened to Diddy. In September 2024, federal agents arrested Sean Combs at a New York hotel on charges, including sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The very man who had walked out of that 1999 courtroom completely untouched. The man who had let Shyne take the fall. The man who had sat at the center of decades of whispered allegations across the industry was now sitting inside a federal detention facility, facing the full weight of the American justice system. And Shyne, standing in Belize at a press conference, was asked to respond. He didn't gloat. He didn't celebrate. He said he would never wish incarceration on his worst enemy, adding that he takes no joy in watching anyone face the criminal justice system. But he also spoke the truth. He said Diddy destroyed his life. He said that at 18 years old, simply trying to make his mother and his country proud, he was defending this man, and that man turned around and let witnesses testify against him. He said the cold, hard facts speak for themselves. He said he forgave, he moved on, but he refuses to pretend he was off vacationing with Diddy for Thanksgiving and Christmas while he sat locked in maximum security for 9 years. Diddy's legal representatives pushed back hard against Shyne's claims. They called the allegations flatly false. They pointed out that Combs was acquitted on every charge and has consistently maintained his innocence. They said Combs trusted responsible journalism to weigh the legal outcomes already on record. But legal outcomes have a funny habit of getting re-examined once new evidence surfaces, once victims speak up, once producers inside your own circle start filing lawsuits, and once the man at the center of it all winds up sitting in a federal jail cell staring down decades in prison. This conversation on Talk with Flea between Shyne and Cameron ranks among the most human, honest, and unfiltered discussions you'll find anywhere in hip-hop right now. Cameron brings that street-level credibility and genuine curiosity that gets people to open up in ways they rarely would in a traditional media setting. Maze, having lived inside that world himself as a bad boy artist who saw the machine from within, adds yet another layer of understanding to conversation. These are people who genuinely know what it means to sit in the room where these decisions actually get made. And Shyne, now in his 40s, a man who has survived prison deportation, the discovery of faith, the rebuilding of a fractured family bond, and a legitimate political career, has absolutely nothing left to hide. He sat on that show and said it plainly. He did not shoot that woman. He served 10 years, and now he's running Belize. Some might genuinely wonder how exactly he traveled from that prison cell to that political chamber in the halls of government. The simple answer is resilience. But resilience alone doesn't fully capture the whole picture. It runs much deeper than that. It's about a man who refused to let the worst thing that ever happened to him become the final thing that defined him. It's a man who walked into prison as Shyne the rapper and walked out as Moses Barrow the politician. It's a man who looked at the country of his birth, a place that for most of his life had been nothing more than a vague point of origin, and decided to actually build something there. He decided that if the United States had swallowed nearly a decade of his life, he would hand that time back to a place that genuinely claimed him, genuinely wanted him, genuinely needed what he had to offer. And running through all of it, the Cameron interview, the Hulu documentary, years of public statements and political speeches, one theme stays constant in everything Shyne says. The system failed him. A powerful man with money, connections, and the best lawyers industry cash could buy walk straight out of that courtroom a free man, while an 18-year-old kid from Brooklyn who had lived in this country since age 7, with no comparable resources, simply trying to make his mother proud, sat in maximum security for 9 years. Whether or not you believe Shyne's full version of events, that structural imbalance isn't really up for debate. Even people who disagree with Shyne on the specifics of that night generally admit the legal outcomes of that trial were, at minimum, deeply lopsided. Shyne's story stands as hip-hop's most sobering cautionary tale, and, at the very same time, one of its greatest comeback stories. The kid once billed as the next Biggie never got to discover how high that ceiling truly went. But the man he transformed into on the other side of that tragedy, nobody could have scripted that either. A reggae-influenced Orthodox Jewish Belizean politician who once recorded albums from inside a federal prison and now fights with people of a small Central American nation. Hip-hop has genuinely never produced a story quite like it. And Cameron, who has walked his own complicated road through the industry and through life, handed Shyne the platform to tell it entirely in his own words. Whatever you personally believe happened inside that club on December 27, 1999, one thing remains certain. The world heard Shyne's voice that night. And despite everything that followed, the world is still hearing it today, just from a very different kind of room. If this story hit you differently, drop a comment below and tell us what you really think went down at Club New York that night. And if you're new here and craving more deep dives into the moments that shaped hip-hop history, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single video.